get a FaceTime.
Wash your face.
And sure enough, I pick up the FaceTime, and it's Michael Jordan.
Holy cow.
On the FaceTime.
Oh, but how he read that play to steal the pass, Fred, and then...
The day that we did our friends and family party, we got our liquor license at 4:55 p.m. where the cutoff's 5 p.m. the day before. 200-300 people RSVP'd, and the day before we still didn't have the license. Like it was when the Lakers are in town, and LeBron and the whole team want to come and eat.
Dude, that's pretty big.
You know, chef, are you open? You know what I mean? Yeah, we're open.
You're
we're open. I jump into an Uber, and in the Uber sees, I'm calling a bunch of people, trying to get
some
staff,
staff
turn on the
in,
lights, pretend we're open, whatever.
Put the heat on.
The Uber's like, why are you such in a rush? I told him what was going on, and he's like, oh, I actually used to be a cook. I said, great. Are you looking for a job? Park the fucking car, get inside, go downstairs. I need this. I don't tell too many people this story, so this is a first, ladies.
All right, right here.
This is a first.
You sure you could?
Nobody's business all day.
Hello, everybody. Podcast number 21, first one of the year, and we're taking it on the road a little different this year, and we're at the awesome restaurant, one of the hottest restaurants in the city right now, Gino and Marty's on Randolph, and we have the one and only Gino with us. Obviously, Greg's with us too. So Gino, welcome.
Also, Greg's.
Also, Greg.
I said,
Today I'm the third wheel.
Today's third wheel.
It's all good.
Hey,
It's all good.
we're on the road. You got home field advantage.
I love it.
No, we like it too. Thanks for having us. Thanks for opening up your beautiful restaurant to us. And welcome to the podcast. And why don't you go ahead and tell us your story?
Yeah, I mean,
you could start from the beginning, growing up. I mean, obviously that all has.
Yeah, so one rainy day, late December 1984. Welcome to Randolph Street, guys. I know usually when I see you when we hang out, it's always on Harlem Avenue, which is the OG stomping grounds.
OG, I love it.
I try to bring a little Harlem over here to Randolph Street, which is pretty cool. There's a lot of great Italian places, but we kind of keep it old school, authentic. Very very few restaurateurs on this block will shut down Randolph Street with an Italian produce guy in a van out there. Or my dad passing out Italian shoes to my security staff. That's something you don't normally see on Randolph Street, but it's something cool. We try to be we're a trendy place. We have a lot of celebrities. We have a lot of beautiful people coming in here, but we don't forget where the roots. We don't forget where we're from. And that's Italian of Harlem Avenue.
I didn't bring the Harlem. I love. First of all, Fullerton Market is crazy, right? Yeah. It's insane. And then you come here from Harlem and make it even better. It's amazing. That's an amazing accomplishment, man.
Well, it's got to be wild for a lot of our neighbors to see like what are these guys doing?
Yeah, they're
we have spotlights out front.
Yeah, it's nuts.
We make there's constant commotion here. I have guys with accordions. I have people walking in. My dad will come in, on a Saturday night. We're jam-packed, people waiting for tables. I'm taking care of a couple celebrities, and my dad will come in with, some 4-foot kukutsa.
Wow.
You know what I mean? and he'll stop everybody. Where's my staff? I'll be yelling in the kitchen, hands, looking around where the fuck is everybody? And then they're all outside unloading produce from my dad's friend's garden.
From his friend, yeah.
You know what I mean? This is beautiful. Cook with it. So, it's a level of, it's really the best of both worlds.
But how authentic is that? That's real. You know what I mean? Your dad is coming.
It's real. I mean, when
it's old school Italian.
When my dad and Uncle Tony walk in, the dining room stops. They stare at two guys in trench coats and fedoras. My dad, he'll tell you their prescription, but he'll still have those sunglasses on while he's walking in.
Your dad. Your dad is a legend. Come on.
But it's authentic. It's part of the real story. When we opened this place, we wanted to have a real Chicago Italian-American kind of luxury experience. What was it like when just after a lot of our family members came to Chicago and we started making money and we started doing well for ourselves? What was that experience like? What were those supper clubs like? We grew up going to dinner dances, where you'd sit down, you have dinner.
And that's what we were talking about, right?
A comedian starts.
Yep.
How do we recreate that in a really cool way and introduce that to,
because sometimes you go a lot of places here, right? There's a lot of good places. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, please.
You go out, you eat, but then you leave, right? You got to leave. Instead, how we grew up is you're eating, and then the dinner dance, we call it, right?
Yeah, of course.
And you go to the banquet, you eat, and then you're going a little ballada. dancing.
Band starts.
You know, move out some tables.
Move out,
you know
move
what I
out
mean?
some tables.
No, but you dress up. You want to have an experience, and I think a lot of people in the restaurant business or hospitality business, you know, we forget that. You know, our real product, we're selling experiences, we're selling memories.
I agree.
Anybody could give you a coffee, anybody could give you food, anybody could give you beverage.
Yep.
But when you wake up in the morning, are you telling a story about the night before?
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, when you wake up, you know, you can't wait to call Greg and say, Greg, this is never believe what I did
maybe
last
after
night.
3 hours, 2 hours. Not my first thought, but go ahead.
No, but it's true.
No comment.
No, but it's true. You're right. I agree. You've done this here because even without you here, we came here to eat. And thank you with reserve. It's hard to get a table here, guys. So we had a table. They treated us
my
like
name on the table.
we had a name. Yeah.
I came in. They're like, oh yeah.
But besides that, the chef literally he came out. He's like, hey, what do you? The chef from the kitchen came out to talk with me. What I want. We kind of talked about what he's going to cook for me. Like that thing, that whole experience with a chef, you only get when I'm from Italy. I get it in Italy, not here.
He actually asked for permission. He's like, hey, would you mind? I want to make something from where I'm from.
Yes.
You're
for
like,
you
know
guys.
what? Absolutely
I'm
not.
like, oh yeah.
No.
I'm like, I wouldn't mind. Go for it.
You know, I think that's lost in a lot of whether you're in a suburb, small town, whether you're in a big city. I think that's lost in a lot of restaurants. The idea of that old school maitre d', right?
Yep.
Who's that guy walking around the room
Yep.
that everybody wants to know, right?
Yep.
That's kind of combining the whole experience, and especially being a small guy on the block. Surrounded by the biggest restaurant
you
groups
got top
in the
notch.
world.
Exactly. Nubis
You
around the
know,
corner.
like the way to be different is to do things that they can't do.
Yep.
And while I'm here and while we're starting off and building a foundation, you know, for ourselves, you know, kind of in this next tier of competition in a market like this.
Correct.
The difference is, you know, I grind it out table by table, plate by plate.
Yep.
You know, I put on the chef coat and I meet and I talk to every one of my customers. I put a name to the face.
I love
you know, people want to be seen. It's a human experience.
It's that passion, pretty much.
Yeah.
And when you got that
Absolutely.
passion, like you do it from the heart, like you really care about it. You know what I mean?
Don't mean to make a transfer over to real estate, but it's the same thing. Same thing we did. We started from when we started. We were at a small office, and Greg could attest to this. You'd call to make an appointment with like the bigger offices, and the old, we were younger.
They're laughing.
They were making fun of us and like, where you work? Oh, they would like put you down.
Yeah, of
and then
course.
little by little, you do the groundwork, and
Yeah.
then people kind of, some people that's a turn off. Like, oh, that's just that big office. Let's call. Who's this other guy that's over here that's doing all this stuff?
But one thing for us, our big thing is about the repeat business, right?
It's all about repeat
And
business.
I know that's big for you too.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's 100%
Like,
about repeat business.
Forget about chasing always the new. It's
Yeah.
about the repeat. So that's why when you leave that experience, like kind of like what we do, but in a restaurant business, you leave that experience, people are going to come back.
You know, I bet you some of the, your first customers when it was just you guys as the small guys, right, and everyone was laughing at you. I bet you a lot of those customers are still.
That's
your
right.
customers.
100%.
Absolutely.
They're our best ones.
I could see their nephews, their children. Continue to be customers
Yeah.
of you guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, there's a level of trust.
Correct.
And where you can't compete, maybe at that time you couldn't compete with marketing. You couldn't, you couldn't walk your clients into a nice office like they had or whatever
Correct.
it might be at that time. But you give them a personal experience.
Yep.
You
Absolutely.
100%.
yeah, and then that makes a difference at the end of the day.
100%.
So, trying to
Yeah.
grind it out one person
Yeah.
at a time here.
And back to your dad, he comes into our office too, starts throwing keychains and flags at us.
Yeah,
He's like, oh, flag.
the problem with my dad is he's not
he's like-
giving you any business.
he's like-
he's
I
distracting.
doubt your dad at all.
No, he's distracting you from
No,
business.
no,
You'll
no.
have clients. My
Distractions
dad
are
will come in and
good.
take everybody's attention.
Distractions are good.
Yeah,
Distraction-
passing out Italian flags and
Like flags,
keychains.
keychains.
Yeah,
Listen.
we got all kind of goodies, from your dad.
Yeah.
You gotta have like a sensor, like a block down when Gino Senior's coming. And everybody prepare.
I'll tell you the truth. Your dad, like I know your dad a long time, and I heard about Gino and Marty's. Like that's what you've done an incredible job, but I didn't know it was yours. Believe it or not, until like I swear to God, I'm sorry.
I don't think my dad knew it was mine until he walked in and he's like, "Oh, you're not bullshitting me."
I'm like, I heard about it, like it was, people were praising it, and he told me about it, and then I realized, man, it's Gino's. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's amazing, man. Like,
Yeah,
I gotta
thank you.
say, you've done an amazing job.
Yeah. No.
You know?
You know, I was working full time. I was a food and beverage director over at a great hotel in River North. You know, working 80 hours a week.
Okay.
I was taking my full paychecks. I put it back into
Just saying.
you know, Bartucci right next door to my family's pasta shop.
Yep.
Everything I knew about the business at that point would tell me, don't open a restaurant here.
Yep.
Right. You know, Harlem was just kind of in like an awkward middle ground. You know, right now I believe we're coming back. You're seeing families move in. We're thriving.
We are, yeah.
You know, the city funding millions
Yep.
of dollars into making it, you know, one of the largest cultural corridors.
Yep.
You know, in the
Yep.
nation potentially. You know, and that's all stuff that you know, all of us have been a part of driving. But when I opened it, any logical reasons I should open a restaurant or any strategy that I learned would tell me don't open this place. But it was something I wanted to do out of passion. I didn't expect much out of it. I started with 6 tables.
Wow.
I couldn't even fill those 6 tables for 2 years.
Wow.
It took me, you know, like a busy Friday night was
The
sitting
one
all
on
6
Harlem,
tables.
right?
Yeah,
On
for
Harlem,
sure.
yeah.
But without doing that, it wouldn't have given me the opportunity and you know, a little bit of you know,
That experience,
going
that's-
back to my
yeah.
roots and
Yeah.
starting from scratch and then being able to build something.
Yeah.
Well, I think when you do that, you appreciate the business, right?
Yeah.
If you come in and you're all of a sudden you're like slammed out the door, and then things you kind of lose that edge. So I think if you always have that in the back of your mind, like, oh man, I had to. So you know when the tables are full, you have there's appreciation there.
You guys remember when you didn't have any clients?
Oh, that's
Oh,
that's what I'm
when the
getting
phone-
at. Like
when the
when
phones were
I had
ringing,
one,
right?
I had you run.
Well, and you don't forget that. Now
No.
you might have hundreds of clients, but you treat
Correct.
every single
No,
one.
you don't forget it.
Like you can't lose that one.
No.
You don't forget where you come from.
Yeah, no,
You know what I mean? And
absolutely.
I think probably your dad installed that in you too, because he hasn't forgot where he came from. You know.
You know, I kind of one of my first like restaurant stories, you know, that I've told before is I remember like 8 years old. My dad had a restaurant, Da Luigino in Oak
Not
Park.
Luigino.
I don't know. Like, were either you around
think-
at that time?
Where was it at?
It was in Oak Park. I think on Oak Park Avenue.
Could have been.
Okay.
It was called Da Luigino. It was a really popular, really successful restaurant. And I used to, you know, just, you know, little curly-haired Afro kid would just run checks to tables, and the servers' tips would, you know, go up 10, 20% easy. You know, when a little cute Italian kid is dropping off the checks. Well, instead, have a great night, right? And then I remember it was like a Friday night. The kitchen was super busy. It was like 8 o'clock. And I told one of the cooks.
You want more coffee, buddy?
Please. I told one of the cooks, I said, you know, make me dinner. I'm hungry. And then, you know, the guy's busy as hell, and my dad comes in, and my dad's like, what do you think you're doing? And I
Yeah.
was like, Papa, I'm hungry.
Yeah. And
Like,
you felt you were the boss too
Yeah, I
at
want to
that
eat.
point.
Papa.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
they work
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah.
We own the
Yeah.
place. I'm an owner.
Yeah.
My dad says, oh, you're the owner. Okay. Proceeds to give me a pair of yellow gloves, gives me a mop, and he goes, if you're the owner, start with cleaning the bathrooms.
I love it.
And then I remember it was like 8:30, which was already, you know, getting to be a little late for
Yeah.
me. I cleaned bathrooms and floors till like 11:30, almost midnight. And that was like the latest I've ever been up in my life, right? Like it was, you know, and then I didn't eat that night. And that was a lesson from my dad saying,
But
if you
think of-
want to be the owner, this is what it takes. And this is where
Wow.
it starts.
And until today, you still remember.
Yeah,
About-
and last
you
night
know
I
what
was
I mean?
cleaning bathrooms till 3 in the morning.
Yeah, you are.
Here we are. But the bathrooms are spotless, guys.
wait,
Please. help
They're
us
pretty
out.
good. I
Yeah.
just used them. They're
Beautiful,
pretty good.
beautiful,
They're pretty good.
So what happened last night? You because you know we were gonna do this before. Obviously, you got sick. Then you probably thought you were gonna. It was what was
I mean, it
yesterday?
was-
Yesterday was Wednesday.
Was
Yeah,
Wednesday.
yeah.
So you should have a nice quiet night. What happened?
Yeah, I don't know if we could edit any circles under my eyes, but
Yeah, we'll make you look good. Don't worry.
no, I mean, you know, there's always something going on. You know, last night, Wednesday night, you know, a little slower first couple weeks of January. I'm making plans to go home early, you know, and do laundry and, you know, get ready for my day today. And then we get a call from a couple of the players on the Houston Rockets. They're playing the Bulls. Bulls are regular guests of ours, and
That's awesome.
yeah, and the entire team just bought out the upstairs venue.
Wow.
So, you know, scrambling around, calling staff last minute, you know, filling up the space. getting extra, extra girls and attendees to
Yeah.
make sure that it's a party
Yeah.
when they walk in.
Yeah.
And before you know it, it's a Wednesday night and it's 4 a.m. and my cooks are here, which would normally be at 10, 11 o'clock kitchen close. All of a sudden it's 1 a.m. and we're still cooking pasta. Amazing what a little bit of gnocchi can do.
So you get the Bulls come regularly.
I love how his staff is coming in right now.
Yeah.
Hey guys,
staffs roll in, getting ready to.
this is real.
No,
real. We're live.
hey, you
That's
guys
it.
wanted to be on the road.
Yeah,
We're
it's
starting
on the road.
year
You get on
off.
the road.
Yeah, starting the new year strong. This is what you get. No, but it's that's all part of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't stop. There's always something.
Yeah, there's
going on.
always going on,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, when
yeah.
you guys are in a very similar business. When
it's a people job.
People are
You know what I
calling
mean?
you constantly.
Yep.
Doesn't matter what time
Yeah.
you wake up in the morning. You could wake up as early as possible. You're still going to have emails pending.
Yep.
You're still going to have things
Yep.
to do.
At night. Yeah.
I always say, you wake up every morning. There's always a problem every day. Every day. It's just how you take the problem, and how you take on the stress, and you got to know how to figure out stuff.
And
What's up?
we're working through vacation. Obviously, with phones, it's a blessing and a curse, right? You're always on because you got the phone, but the blessing is you could be away and still get stuff done. And to Greg's point, I think he told me this one time. Because sometimes you're on vacation, like, oh man, this job you're trying to enjoy, you have some. But he's like, if your phone's not ringing, it means you got nothing going on.
No, for
And
sure.
if you got nothing going on, it's not good.
How
So problems are good.
How many times?
Headaches are
how
good.
many times when you guys
pretty much it.
when you guys are building where you're like, oh, I can't wait for the day that I have X amount of clients or X amount of business, and then it comes and that it is a blessing and a curse because being your own
boss, yeah. Correct.
You end up actually working for everybody that works for you.
Oh, you go the extra mile, right? Like you did.
Of course,
Like
of
you're
course.
doing. Like last night, you're open up the kitchen.
Yeah.
And I think you've done that more than once. Like,
No, we do.
I think-
I do it constantly. And
like
that's,
I heard a podcast, you did it for the Blackhawks too.
Yeah, no,
You
the
know?
Blackhawks have done it for regularly. United Center's not too far.
And you cooked on you cooked.
Yeah, no, these guys have me. Have my cell phone number. They text me on a regular
Yeah.
basis.
That's awesome.
There's very few restaurants that'll open up and go out of their way. A couple months ago, I got a call from the GM of the Peninsula Hotel. It was like a Tuesday night at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Like I'm half asleep.
Yeah.
I got my dog on me. The last thing I want to do
Wow.
on Tuesday night is worry about the restaurant, right? But as you guys know, it never stops.
It never stops.
You got somebody that wants to sell or buy a house. Doesn't matter
You
what
gotta
time
go.
they call you.
You got to do what you got to do.
Right? You gotta
you
do
can't
it, right?
you can't wake
Yep.
up and oh today.
And I get a call that the Lakers are in town and
Wow.
LeBron and the whole team want to come
Wow.
want to come and eat.
Dude, that's pretty big.
Chef, are you open? And I'm yeah, we're open.
You're like,
we're open.
LeBron,
Yeah, hell yeah, we're open. And then sure enough, I jump into an Uber and the Uber sees that I'm kind of like
You're calling 500 people.
Yeah, I'm
trying to
calling
get
a bunch of people, trying to
get
get
some
staff,
staff
turn on the
in,
lights,
yeah.
pretend we're open, whatever.
put the
it
heat
is.
on.
Yeah, and then the Uber's like, why are you such in a rush? Especially being the time of night. And,
On a
and I
Tuesday.
told him what was going on, and he's like, oh, I actually used to be a cook. I used to work in restaurants.
Wow.
I said, great. Are you looking for a job? Park the fucking car, get inside, go downstairs. I need
No
this,
way.
this. And he was just like,
You for real?
His head was spinning.
Wow.
And he's like, are you for real? And I said, do this, I'll give you a job. And he runs downstairs. I ended up not giving him a job. The guy didn't have a shit together. But
It's okay.
But that was
you
fun.
gave it a try.
But he gave it a try. We were running up and downstairs. I'm by myself. I got a guy who's never been in my kitchen, who's never seen the products, who doesn't know anything that's going on. Literally yelling at him to grab things in the cooler. Welcome to the restaurant business. But this is what we do. That's what separates you.
Yeah.
From someone else. It's how many times you say yes that gives you the benefit
That's
of
true.
It's,
of-
well,
so
if
true,
you
man.
say no one time, they might not call you again. Or they're
course,
probably not
of
going to call
course,
you again. They're
of
going to call the guy that said yes to them. They're going to go right down the list of different restaurants, and the one guy who says yes, that's who they're calling next time. And
Yeah,
Not only you lose that opportunity, then
Yeah.
you don't know what the other doors are going to open from
Exactly.
that opportunity. You know what I mean? Is you're being cool with the guy, you took care of him, he looks good, and then you don't know what other business he's going to give you, and
Yeah,
it puts you on demand.
Especially with athletes or celebrities, with a lot of artists, their managers are all intertwined. They work together.
Yeah.
Just as restaurant owners, I know all these chefs and other
Yeah.
restaurateurs. because it's it's a smaller network.
Yeah, I got it.
NBA players, there's only 300 some, right? 300 plus NBA players.
Yeah.
These guys are at the top of their game. They all talk and they all
Yeah,
know each other.
they're all like,
Same thing with
a
any other
small group.
athlete or a comedian or whatever
Yeah.
it is. So when you go out of your way and someone has a great time, that word
They're
of
telling
mouth
everybody.
business. There's no way to market.
Yeah.
How am I going to market to Kevin Durant to come in here?
Yeah.
There's no way to
No
market
way.
to Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
How you get Kevin Durant in here is through one of his players and
Yep.
one of his managers or one of his coaches, and take care of them. And it's a process of making sure that you're always coming through and taking care of people.
Yep. Yep.
You're
planting the seed.
Your best,
Yeah.
biggest clients started with an apartment rental.
Dude, all the time.
And now, one of their friends or cousins, moms are buying $1 million mansion for
it's
you guys.
planting seeds, and then all of
know?
a sudden you get
You don't know who.
I had a guy around the corner here. Like I always just service them, help them out with some notary stamp.
Yeah.
And then the grandpa, they sold to Nubo, like the property.
Yeah.
And it was 2, 3.
Was
3
this
months.
next door?
It was literally
Yeah.
And then I was able
killer.
to they had to reinvest their money and everything, and I took care of all that.
Yeah,
But that's how it works. But
if you
it worked
said no to
for
one
10
phone
years.
call
Yeah,
of a notary,
exactly.
Yeah.
That's it.
that would
I
have
would just
it would have never snowballed. It would've
literally
never
with just a
But
talk,
that's-
conversation, just simple.
And that's 10. But that's 10
I didn't
years.
ask nothing for it.
That's 10 years.
10 years.
That's not like you get a phone call in January and it happens in April. It could.
It could.
But,
it
but
could never pay off.
It could exactly.
And that's okay.
There's a lot that don't. There's a lot that wait.
Yeah, but you just
There's a
gotta
lot.
keep,
There's
you
a
just
lot
gotta
that
keep
don't.
saying
You
yes.
got to be okay
There's
with
a lot
that.
that don't.
Yeah.
There's a lot that don't.
most
Oh,
of
I
them
always, I always say, 70% of our runs we don't get paid. It's 30% that we get paid.
Yeah.
But you don't know where that 30% is.
Yeah.
So that's why you say yes, and you got to keep on going.
Yeah, well,
know?
it's crazy what that effect is like, because you just have to constantly be putting yourself out
Correct.
there.
Yeah.
It's emotionally exhausting. A lot of people don't
It
understand.
is.
Yeah.
It could be. But you got to also remain humble, right? Like for you, for example, you're seeing all these celebrity, literally they got the Lakers upstairs yesterday,
Yeah,
and now
you
you're
think
meeting us. Like we're not, no big deal. We're
Yeah, when
okay.
XR calls at 1 in the morning,
but you're
we want to
humble.
rent the upstairs.
I'm not LeBron. No. What are you talking about?
Beautiful Bella Maserati.
Get mine. That's how it worked. I didn't just, overnight became a basketball player. But I appreciate. I could see that you're humble too. So that's huge, man. You know what I mean?
It's super important, especially in a business. And realty is a lot like hospitality, in the sense that you have those people in the upper echelon, and egos run.
Yeah,
everything.
100%.
They'll ruin business, and you have to have a little bit of ego. You have to have a chip on your shoulder to be confident.
Of course.
We like to call it confidence. You don't want to be.
No, but ego is not a bad thing if you're aware.
Yes.
And you control it, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And you balance it. But yeah, it's really hard to balance that in this business, and I'd like to say that I'm more humble for a positive reason, but I would say it comes through an immense amount of failure many times.
Yeah. Oh my God. Of course.
You know what I mean?
Well,
Looking in the mirror and
and-
making sure what you're made out
Yeah.
of.
And
of course.
I mean, and we've seen it just being in real estate too. Like there's people that they're on top of the world, and then we've seen them just fall off
And
the
then they
cliff.
just
So
drop,
you never know when it could get
Yeah.
taken away. Too.
Yeah.
You do your best to keep it to stay where to keep in the same direction. and
It's a
everything else.
mindset too. You know
Yeah.
what I mean, you have to remain strong. You know what I mean? Because you're battling against yourself. You know what I mean? Like I say, my competition is myself. That's it. It's me, myself, and I. And you always got to keep, make sure you're, keep sane as well, because it could be a lot of pressure. It could be a lot of, your phone is always ringing and people are calling you.
The celebrity thing, when did that start? Did that start like right when you guys opened, or how?
Yeah, so we I mean, we rushed.
If I open a restaurant, I don't think the Blackhawks are calling me. Just
No, we rushed our opening. Literally the day that we did our friends and family party. We got our liquor license at 4:55 p.m. where the cutoff's 5 p.m. the day before.
Got
I
it.
already had 200-300 people RSVP'd
Wow.
for our friends and family grand opening.
Wow.
And the day before, we still didn't have the license like it was going to be.
Oh, my God.
So we were literally scrambling 5 minutes before 5 p.m. We got the license. The next day, this was a full construction site. I had scaffolding up. I had drop cloths everywhere. There was dust. And this is like 5 p.m. And at like 7, 8 p.m., I have 200 people lined up outside.
Wow.
And we rushed it for, that was Lollapalooza. Dua Lipa on the books. We had Green Day on the books.
Wow.
Don Toliver, and a bunch of great celebrities were like, we can't pass this up. At that point, we're like, even if we close a little bit after this weekend, at least we hit it with a splash.
Yeah.
I had a barricade up out front. And we just said, whatever, we're legal, like, fuck it, let's roll.
Let's do it.
There was a point where I'm like greeting tables and, and some of the people in the kitchen were like, hey, chef, like, we have these orders. And I'm like, yeah, great, like make the orders. And they're like, no, like, we don't know how to make it. And I was like, yeah, holy shit, you don't know how to
You're
make
the
it.
chef.
Like
You're the
running in the back, like, hey, Greg, great to see you. Running in the back, cooking your food, serving it like nothing happened, and but we put ourselves through that gauntlet, and it really started an organic kind of feel of bringing some of these people in.
Yeah.
And between myself and a couple of my partners, everyone has their own different connections throughout all these years in nightlife or restaurants. So, out of 7 days in a week, we each bring a person or a connection one of those nights.
Correct.
And then 3-4 nights of the week, 50% of the time, that you're here, you're bound to see someone. Now,
Yeah. Wow.
That's pretty
That's
awesome.
really cool. And that was never the plan. We could never open and and have that part of the strategy.
Yeah. No, you never know.
And-
No,
and
I
if
was just
you,
kidding.
if you told 12-year-old Gino that you're going to meet the biggest celebrities in the world, that Michael Jordan knows
Wow.
your name.
Wow.
That
Whoa,
the governors of California are coming in and major
pretty-
celebrities and politicians.
Yeah, that's
right?
pretty crazy.
Because of gnocchi. You know what I mean?
You're like, what?
Because un piatto di pasta.
He's like, no guy eat that every Sunday.
who would've
Every
thought?
pasta every day.
Like my whole life, I've hustled every single angle to try to figure out, how to make it, or what.
Dude, it was always
what my
there
path
in
is.
your kitchen.
And I grew up staring at this pasta, and this whole time, like, who would have thought pasta was the passport to all this stuff?
I love it, man.
You know what I mean? I have Nas say,
Isn't
"Hey,
it
come out
insane?
to New York. Let me take you out in New
Wow.
York." And I'm sitting there like
That is
all
awesome.
because of a plate of pasta,
That's
right?
pretty-
It's a beautiful
that's
thing.
sick.
Yeah.
Bringing people together.
So obviously you don't get much bigger than Michael Jordan. So what was that like? Did he come in?
Wow.
Or did he,
So actually, I don't tell too many people this story. So this is the first, ladies
All
and
right,
gentlemen.
right here.
This is the first.
You
This
sure
is
you
the
could
first.
release
This
it
is
on-
fresh. This-
all right,
fresh,
man.
fresh release.
Man, I feel important now.
So when we open, we always look at brands that are that we can make an impact for, right? Don Julio or Patron. They're doing hundreds of millions of dollars in sales, right? Like, they don't give a shit about a small company like us.
Yeah.
We're just a number on their P&L
Yeah.
sheet. This great tequila came out, Sincoro. I actually really liked it. It's a top quality tequila. And then, we realized that they were kind of just hitting the market. It's owned by Michael Jordan, Jeannie Buss, the owner of the Lakers,
Wow.
Wyc Grousbeck, the owner of the Boston Celtics, and the owner of the Milwaukee Bucks. So, and Michael Jordan,
Yeah.
right? So the five of them, I'm like, okay, there's good resources behind this. It's a great tequila. My partner Martin and I, we're like, we could make waves for a company like this, right?
Yeah.
Smaller company, every bottle we sell means more.
Correct.
Than
Of course.
than selling a bottle of,
Of course.
Patron, right?
I bet.
So we were onto something, and a couple months later, we still are one of the biggest pushers of Sincoro tequila in the
That's
nation.
awesome.
I was able to have Amelia Fazzolari, who's the president and CEO of Sincoro. She came in a couple times. We did some private dinners for her. One of the dinners, I surprised her with her grandma's. I figured out her grandma's like family pasta recipe that she loved as a kid.
You did your research.
And I recreated that for
pretty
her
awesome.
in a 5-course dinner,
Wow.
that we had upstairs, a nice little private party. She had a great dinner. And, long story short, a couple months later, she texts me and she's like, make sure you pick up your phone.
Wow.
I'm going to call you. And it was like Wednesday night, like 10 o'clock at night. I'm at home at this point. I'm in like a 20-year-old like AC/DC T-shirt.
You're relaxing
I'm about,
from the
I'm
weekend
about to
and
pass
stuff.
out,
You're,
right?
Yeah, you're tired.
And I thought there was a problem. She says, pick up your FaceTime. I'm going to be calling you shortly. So I try to put on a professional face really quick, and I get a FaceTime.
Wash your face.
And sure enough, I pick up the FaceTime, and it's Michael Jordan
Holy cow.
on the FaceTime. I didn't even know it was real. I'm looking at it like, am I looking at a picture, a poster, someone fucking with me, you know? And
That's really cool.
He goes, hey, Chef Gino.
Chef Gino. Dude, that's
like,
pretty awesome.
What? Like, you knew my name?
Wow.
He's like, Chef Gino, what's up, man? I'm like, hey.
Wow.
I'm like, Michael, Mr. Jordan. I'm sorry. I don't even know what to call you right now. I'm like, you know, it was like getting in a car accident where you black out for a second. You're not really sure what happened. Like, you know what happened.
Like, is this really
but
happening?
after the fact, you're like sweating, you know, like, and then I've seen a ton of celebrities, you know, the very few, like, I'm fanboying over.
Yeah. But Michael,
you know, but I grew up in the Jordan era in Chicago. You know, I'm a Chicago kid at the end of the day. And, you know, we spent like 7 to 10 minutes on the phone having a real conversation. Wow. And he was just thanking me for Martin and I pushing the tequila. You know, I told him
that's huge, man.
One thing I learned from him is to be the hardest working person in the room.
Yep.
And he was just like, you know, I see what you guys are doing in Chicago. I love what you're doing. And I said, honestly, the only way that we're doing what we're doing is because we're the hardest working people in the room.
Yeah.
And that's the difference in working against some.
You're outworking everybody. That's pretty much it.
Is to outwork
Yep.
them.
Yep.
And and he goes, I can't wait to try the food. He's like, save a table for me. I was like, Michael, I'll shut down the block for you. What do you mean save a table? I'm building a custom table for you right now with your name on it. You know? But yeah, like, you know, sometimes when you're in business for yourself, and I know you guys have had these moments.
Oh, we do all the time.
You're not sure if the path you're on is the right path.
Of course,
right?
man.
Yeah.
You
always second guessing
yourself. You second guess yourself. Should I did this? What if I did it a different way? What would that path be like? And you're constantly thinking, what if? You know, am I selling myself? Do I have what it takes to make it?
I'm pushing myself all the time. I'm pretending I'm always like starving. Like I'm like literally like I'm gonna lose it all. That's how I act every single day on every deal.
And you're never sure if all the decisions you make are the right or the best ones. And then something, you know, and then getting a call from Michael Jordan and saying, you know, whatever pros or cons or negatives or, you know, personal situations you've dealt with in your life, you are on the right path. Like, right? Like that's a sign saying,
you know, you've done something right.
Keep doing what you're
doing something right.
You know, if I told 12-year-old Gino that Michael fucking Jordan knows my name.
No way. Chef
Are
Gino?
you kidding
Come
me?
on.
His head would explode.
Dude, that's pretty
That's
good
a beautiful
story.
thing. And once again, like, you know, who would have thought for, you know, a plate of pasta, man. That's what we're talking about right now, a plate of pasta.
Piatti pasta.
Yeah, piatti di
Piatti
pasta.
di
It's
pasta.
a beautiful thing.
Make you talk with Michael Jordan. That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, I know, right? Like,
That's
it's special, you know? And that's, you know, and with our businesses, you know, whether it's creating a moment for people, you know, celebrating their birthday or communion or first date or a breakup, or someone buying their first house or moving in with the love of their life in their first place together.
It's huge.
Right? We're able to create moments for people that they're going to look back, you know, and like how many memories are created in the houses you guys sell.
Oh yeah.
No,
Right?
big time.
You guys are helping. You're building lives. You're part of a story of someone.
Yeah,
and that's an amazing thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's an emotional ride. I mean, it's especially
and residential it's all emotion. You know what I mean? They're building their family there. That's where they're going to have their first baby. Their baby's going to get married. Like, it's crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like there's a life change.
And you're there. Like, you were part of their life.
Yeah, of
course. You know? And coming to the restaurant, I'm not saying it's part of, you know, the whole life, the one time. But if they get to know you and they come here all the time, it's huge.
Yeah,
I feel like a lot of your clientele.
Well,
that's what
you know. All the time, I get people coming in, you know, meeting their future wife or future husband. You know, on a night here.
Yeah.
You know, having their first date and saying, "Hey, Gino, something you did like really, and really helped me out with that girl, right?" And then next thing you know, they have 3 kids. You know, but it's a beautiful thing to do what we do and be able to have that power. You know, power in a positive way.
Yeah.
You know, to really affect people.
Well, yeah, you kind of, there's a connection. It's not just, you know, punching the clock. It's not just, I mean, there's days you do that, right? You're just working away, but then you have those special moments where it's like, oh man, it's awesome, and there's connections. I mean, Greg's probably had it. I've had people inside of a house fight, cry, you name it.
In front of you guys.
I'm having all this coffee.
Yeah, sometimes.
You want more cafe, man?
Please.
Sometimes, I mean, it's a little awkward sometimes, but it happens, right? And You know.
Cheech.
Yeah, I'll have some more. If
I
it
call
was
it Cheech. That's an Italian.
Hey, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I think-
go ahead.
Oh, well, all right.
Here we go. All right.
So, yeah, but, you know, it's kind of...
Your nonna gave you this? This is nice.
You know, honestly,
Listen, don't get me wrong.
She might as well.
All the nonna stuff are coming back.
Yeah, no. Right when we opened the restaurant, we hit my dad's store across from the pasta shop.
You did?
Italy's
Oh,
nice.
your dad's store is.
You know, I've seen some of this like Italian china on his shelf since I was a little kid, and I said,
And you
"Papa,"
never appreciated it.
Yeah, no, never
bet,
appreciated
right?
it. I said, Papa, you know what? Today I'm gonna buy it all. And my dad's like, well, you know, that's hard to find. You know, I'll try to give you a good price.
He's
I was like,
selling
Papa,
it.
this
He
has
turned to
been
sales.
on the shelf
one thing-
since 1986. Give me a good price. I'm gonna buy all this shit right now. Just stop trying to wheel and deal me right now.
Oh, yeah, of
You know,
course.
and then over there at Chef's Table is all Italian china from
Dude, I love it.
from the 60s, 70s.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
People, that retro is like huge, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean... So,
Your dad has good stuff.
So
though.
going back to what, like your whole story, but it's like if you trace it back, it's really like a lifetime of work. It's not just your 2 years.
Oh, for
It's like
sure.
your dad, all the work your dad put in, coming, you know, doing everything, instilling in you, instilling the work ethic. You working at a restaurant when you were a kid.
Yeah. He didn't just
It's
wake
a
up.
lifetime.
He didn't
It's
wake
not-
up.
It's not just
in
you
the-
just opened this
yeah.
year and all of a sudden, boom. You know. I mean,
Yeah, you work 20 years to be an overnight success. You know, right?
Pretty
you know,
much.
and there's
Yeah.
constant, you know, like there's so many people coming into the place and congratulating you, right? You know, oh, it's awesome what you did, like. You know, what were you doing before this type of thing? And it's like, you know, a lot of people they'll congratulate you. They want to they want to take the picture with you.
Yeah.
You know, and all that stuff's great. You know,
picture.
but yeah,
this is the original.
the
not
picture.
in
You know
Chicago.
that I
Not-
technically started Tommy DeVito.
Hey.
Yeah, it didn't come from New York.
Our
It came from
people have been
Chicago.
doing it forever, but you know, I made it on a PR level.
That's
let's
right.
let's just say that.
And you can prove it.
Yeah, I could prove.
You got
it.
the- you got the,
I got the digital
You got,
timestamps.
you got the digital data trail.
Yeah.
We'll have a debate one day.
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe DeVito will be right here.
Episode 22.
You know, episode 22, DeVito, NFL player here.
Exactly.
When you were trying to fill those 6 tables at Bartuccia in Harlem, you know what I mean? And you were
Exactly.
scared, you don't know if
Exactly.
you're doing the right thing.
When I'm
and-
when I'm washing the dishes and cooking
Come
the
on.
food for
You
the
know,
for
people
the
didn't see
for
that.
tables I'm serving.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? When I can't pay my rent.
But even your
because I
dad
did my
working
rent.
hard and your uncle there,
Yeah,
they had the
no, for
grocery
sure,
store. You know what I mean?
for
They've been doing this for years.
You know,
so.
and you know, even those guys that, you know, like they literally came with nothing.
Nothing.
You know, like
Yeah.
my dad's first job was slicing. He opened a deli because
Yeah.
he was slicing deli meat, and he was
was working
getting
a deli,
paid
right?
for the ends of the deli meat.
Wow.
You know, like when you can't slice the
Yeah,
salami
yeah,
anymore
yeah,
because
yeah.
your hands are getting too
Yeah.
close to the slicer,
Yeah.
or like the ends of the prosciutto. That would be his pay, and he would take that. He would take
Wow.
that home when he started.
Wow.
You know, and you know, it's I don't want that to go in vain, right? So when people ask like, "Oh, what are your hours?" Like, I don't even count the hours. The hours are
Yeah.
insignificant to me.
In the-
I
You know,
get, yeah,
it's-
we get that a lot.
Same
Like,
here.
I just
got it
know I
yesterday.
can do more,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, right.
So just do more. It's not,
I get
it's
that.
not
I
about
get
the
that all
hours.
the time. How many? What's the most houses you showed to a person? Like, I don't count them. If I count them, then it's not. But and you could talk that. You could tell that by telling your dad, like, yeah, he's doing it to make a living, or he did it to make a living, but he doesn't do it for the money.
No, well, I mean,
You know what I
even
mean?
right now, like my dad and my uncle, they're 80 years old, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
sorry,
God
Papa.
bless.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Papa.
but-
He's,
Oh, man,
six-
blue
62,
cover, man, when he
60
comes-
Don't talk about
60
that.
62. Well, no one really knows because they didn't do.
He looks pretty good.
They didn't have proper birth certificates in
Yeah.
Italy anyway. It was when your family made it to the hospital.
Yeah,
a
we're
couple
gonna go
months
there
later.
next. We're gonna go there next month. It's
3
cold
months after.
out, and then we'll record it.
The donkey's a little sick
Yeah.
today. We're not going to go into town.
Yeah.
No, but you know, those they have a passion for it, right? And you know, all this stuff I learned at the hotel or being in, you know, the modern day downtown business. Some things that, you know, those guys have done is consistency
Yep.
and quality.
Yep.
That never faltered over the years.
Yep.
You know, and that
And I-
goes such a long way. They don't have computers. We don't take credit cards. There's no Excel spreadsheets.
Yeah. But every day they woke up and went to work.
Yeah.
Like whatever the problems were,
Yeah.
they just consistency.
And then
you know?
they were proud of it.
A lot of people get into some business and they go, you know, the first problem, that's it. It's like the end of the world. You know what I
course,
mean?
of course.
You always got to keep on
Well,
going.
you know, and you're surrounded by people too, like, you know, some things like beneath them. Like I'm
Yeah,
an owner.
exactly.
Now. People are like, oh, let me take this plate for you, and people are like, oh, no, just leave it there, chef. Like wait for one of the support to take it. Like,
no way.
I'm more than happy to take your plate, right?
Yeah.
There's a level of pride that those guys have, whether they're waking up and jumping into a Mercedes, or whether they're waking up and taking the bus. They still have the same pride in what they're doing because it's their nationality, it's their heritage. For me, it's the last name now.
Yeah.
You know, I work so hard because, you know, it means something.
Leaving a legacy
Bartucci,
almost, you know what I mean?
Bartucci name,
Yeah.
you know, like if you have a vowel at the end of your last name, your aunt, your mom, your nonna have shopped on Harlem Avenue.
I like that.
You know what I mean? No, but it's
That's
you
true.
know, like,
That's true.
And
That's
how
true.
am I going to go out there and you know, like take something so invaluable and you know,
I know.
not keep it going, right?
No,
Not make them proud.
Well, you did a great job, and everyone's
No, and I
everyone's
think
proud.
that's why this is, here successful because you bring that old school, modern school together, and humility.
Yeah.
And
you
pretty much
bridge
it,
you bridge
know
the
what I mean?
gap because like some of the old timers, they just it's hard for them to adapt to the new. the new
You
way.
could deal with LeBron coming or somebody that
or
works
your
in
dad
construction. Yeah. Or, you know, anybody.
LeBron who? I don't
What?
know this
You know,
LeBron.
whatever.
Does he pay your rent?
That's what we used to get. Why do you watch these guys?
What did he eat? What did he eat?
It's like my dad, famous line. I'm like, Papa, it's Christmas. Like, hey, there's food on the table every day is Christmas. I'm like, what are you talking about?
I know. Well, you're calibrated, but Sicilians, like me and Greg, they make these cookies, right? And my dad,
Which ones?
Gucciardate.
Oh, good
I mean, they make it
They make it
Calabria,
Calabria too.
we make
So
it
my dad,
We make them better, that's all.
I think I got some upstairs. So we could go grab
Hey,
some
we
Cucciardati
could-
right now.
Wait,
You
we
give some Gucciardata to the Lakers yesterday?
LeBron like
LeBron doesn't know Cucciardati. He
Anyways.
doesn't know good Cucciardati.
Anyway,
Hit him in the ass.
my dad would be like, well, he said the other day, he's like, this was our gift right here. This is our Christmas gift.
Yeah.
That's it.
One Gucciardata each.
Gucciardate. You know,
Yeah,
they
maybe a couple pieces of coal from La Befana.
maybe. Probably didn't know what it was.
Yeah,
He's
but
like-
it teaches you a lot. It
Yeah.
teaches you a lot. Trust me. Like one of my big, we both have kids, and I want to make sure they remain humble and they remain hungry, and they're, you know, because that's what I'm worried about. I feel like my kids are spoiled. You know, like every day I'm telling them, hey, you got this room is too big for you. You have too many bathrooms. I'm like,
Sleep on the floor.
yeah, you know what I mean? And they're like, you know, I don't want them to grow up snobs.
Yeah, no,
you know,
for sure.
or think it's beneath them.
Yeah.
Well, you know, and also with growing up, you know, being a snob or being entitled or whatever, like you lose tradition in that process.
Absolutely.
You know, like
Absolutely.
Are your kids
Yep.
gonna talk about Cucciardate,
Yep.
Cucuzza like
Go,
we
go.
are right now, right? And,
I
and
know.
like feeling, you know, nostalgic feelings.
Yeah.
Like that's gonna be lost one day. So
That's true.
you know, that's why it was important to me. You know, I hated cooking as a kid, but it was important to me to say, you know, hey, this is what my family does,
Yeah.
and like own it and keep it alive.
Yeah.
You know, because when your kids are our age, there's not going to be handmade pasta shops.
Yep.
There's not going to be a little deli on Harlem
Yeah.
Avenue.
Yep, that's
that
true.
the neighborhood can kind of come in and shop and
Yep.
drink espressos. You know, there's not going to be the chef walking to their table, you know,
No,
talking to them about
no
a
way.
family recipe.
I know.
You know, so yeah, so someone's got to keep it going.
That's good. No.
We don't want the Olive Garden to. Sorry, Olive Garden, but
We're not.
We don't want
sorry,
them to-
Olive Garden.
No, he's not. Sorry.
We are
we don't
not-
want
we are
them to
not
take
sorry.
over, right?
You are not part of our family.
But what's the big thing about your kitchen here? Going back to cook, I love food. I'm a foodie, and of course, obviously, I grew up in Italy, and you know, having grandma cooking and everything.
Where'd you grow up in Sicily? You was in Sicily, right?
Yeah, Provincia di Palermo.
Okay.
Yeah, my mom is from Bagheria, my dad's from Altavilla.
And then that's just outside of Palermo?
We're right outside of Palermo. It's kind of like a suburb
Yeah.
of Palermo, and we're right by the coast.
Suburb.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's
that's what I
suburb.
call it.
It's like Schaumburg.
It's a suburb of
like
Palermo.
Schaumburg.
The Lake Forest of
kind of, you know.
Palermo.
No, we're a nice town. You know what I mean?
I love it.
We're not being snobby, but you know, it's a nice town.
Well, I mean,
But-
just like Sicily, you know, my mom's from Bari.
Okay.
Obviously on the Adriatic. My
Okay.
dad's from Calabria. So, you know, we're very seafood heavy.
Yeah.
You know, seafood's very important. And, you know, of course, the family's been making fresh pasta for 40 years.
Yeah.
You know, so fresh pasta is definitely the
the
focus.
number
You
thing,
know, yeah,
number one.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
number one. You know, and
And then from there, you could make anything.
Oh yeah, of course. Well, and then being in the neighborhood we are, of course we have to have those high ticket items. Like, your steaks, your seafood towers.
Yeah.
No one in Cosenza, Calabria is sitting down to eat oysters.
You
know what I mean? Like, are these East Coast or West Coast? But yeah, I mean, so we have to make some some exceptions here.
Yeah. You got a good menu.
Yeah. We try to keep it simple. I'm actually changing the menu later today.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know what you guys are doing after this, but I have a little staff meeting, and then I'm going to be tasting.
Tasting and stuff?
About 10
I just cleared my schedule. So.
Yeah, you're like, just
hey, I got nothing going on.
Just cancel.
I got all kinds of time.
When it comes to food, Frank is ready.
So we're going to take this to the cooking segment part of the show.
Yeah, it's going to be episode 22. Thanks for opening up your doors.
Of course. I mean, to you guys, the doors are open anytime.
Yeah, we came here.
I know we got kind of like VIP treatment here.
Yeah,
because
well, it's always VIP here.
As you should.
I appreciate it.
And
it means a lot. Honestly, like I've done a lot of different shows. I mean, it's a pleasure to talk with you guys. It's fun. It's
likewise.
It's not work. Couldn't thank you guys enough. It was a pleasure talking to you. And come to Gino and Marty's, 844 West Randolph Street.
That's right.